Hello, I had an idea. Streaming. Now, this isn't streaming, but let me take you through my thought process. Just had some idea. I was watching Tim the Tatman move over from Twitch to YouTube, and all the love and all the support pour out from the community, because I do watch a bit of Warzone. I like a bit of Warzone. And you can watch me play Warzone badly on SultanPlays YouTube channel most Friday nights with it. So I like a bit of Warzone. It's my downtime. Also, if you want to know what it's like to play a video game with me, which you probably don't want to know, but if you want to see me behind the curtain and then how much rage and how much, so Sultan Plays is the place for that, for those that are interested in Warzone as well, I guess. So I was watching Tim the Tatman move over from YouTube to Twitch, and all the support and all the love from the community, and the idea just popped into my head, which is, I don't get in contact with my community as much as I should get in contact with my community. All the big streamers do this all the time because they're streaming and I don't stream. So the first thing that popped into my head is, should I stream? There's talking head videos out there, like Valrak does them, and there's a number of people that do talking head videos, and talking head videos is what we in the biz call them. I know Liam and Valrak and Kirio, I know people like that call them that, but it's commentary videos, or just videos where I can get in contact with you. So that was the first thing that popped into my head, which is, would this work? Should I do one like semi-regularly, and what's the technology? I'd need someone to come around and help me set it up so I know which buttons to press. And so I think I might get to that. But before we get to that, I need to find out if these work. So what I've decided to do instead, with my limited knowledge of tech, is what if I did update videos with you guys? So this is the first of the update video. That's the idea. So I'm going to commit for the first time ever, because I never commit to stuff because it never comes out. I have 20 ideas and one of them will happen. And if I commit to this thing, so I'm going to commit to doing at least one a month, every month, like a community update video. And you guys who are here now, you see day one. And if this is successful, and if enough people have enough appetite for this sort of content, then I'll keep doing this sort of content. But I'll keep doing this sort of content for a bit anyway, and then we'll see how many clicks it gets. And it's important how many clicks and how many people actually watch it, because if in the end it only gets a few thousand views in a few months' time, and a few thousand views in a few months' time, and a few thousand, what that does is it really affects my YouTube algorithm. And YouTube, if they start seeing lots of videos, the YouTube algorithm machine spirit, and if you start piling up your YouTube with lots of videos that don't get as many views for as many length of time for the what YouTube thinks is that channel isn't kicking off, and YouTube doesn't recommend the channel as much, and YouTube doesn't promote the channel as much, and it's a way to kill your channel very, very quickly. So I've got to stay in the green. There's a green band of like your typical runtime on the YouTube. On what it is on YouTube. I'm sure that a few of you out there have got YouTube channels as well, but there's a YouTube Studio app which tells you what your runtime of your videos is, and how many clicks it gets, and what the engagement is, and whether it's up or down. And there's a band, so it needs to stay in the band. So if I just do talking headed videos, community update videos where I am, what's going on, and just talk to you guys and give you some feedback on what I'm doing or whatever's coming into my head at the time, if it stays in the band, if it stays in the green, we're good. And we keep doing these. And if it drops off really, then we stop doing these. So I'll tell you when we're going to stop doing these. But for now, you're here at day one. And if it's popular, or if I can work out the tech, then I can do some streaming stuff and connect with you directly, because it would be really nice to connect with you directly. Because the idea that came to me is, I don't talk to you enough. I don't actually connect with you enough and tell you just how much I love you. Because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys out there watching this hobby journey I'm taking, because it's a crazy hobby journey. It's weird to think that I now do 40k for a living, because essentially what it's not work. I just do more of my hobby more of the time and people watch it. And there's a lot of you out there who've been watching since day one, and a lot of you out there just watch it because of me, not necessarily because of the hobby thing. So that blows my mind. So let's talk to you, and let's get this up and running. So up and running. What I've done is what I'm going to do in this video as well is I'll give you, after I've done all this blur badly, I'll show you my hobby update at the end, where I am and what video, what miniatures I've done. We get to that at the end. But what I've done is I've unlocked the members, not members, yeah, YouTube members. You can become a member of the channel now if you want to support me. You click on that. I don't know why you would do that though, but if you want to click on that and become a day one Winter's SEO member, then click on the button, and it's just a way to support me, to give me some more money. And I don't know why you'd do that, because the best way to support me is by subscribing to deploymentzone.tv. And a lot of you already are, and thank you. You're awesome. And the reason why that's better is because you get stuff back. You get all the content. But I wish that I would be able to put all the content in an ideal world. Wouldn't it be great if all the 40K content all the time was on one platform, was on YouTube all the time, and all the community was all in one space? That would be awesome. But we're wargamers. I'm not Tim the Tan Man with millions and millions of views and 30,000 members and all that sort of stuff. We are in a niche. So the audience, the market share, us, we're not mainstream. We're very small people in a very small pond, and we're trying to, the only way to really make a living out of 40K content is by having extra platforms where those that want more content and those that want to support more can come to those platforms. That's pretty much the only way to do it. That's what Mini Wargaming do, and Striking Scorpion does, and Tabletop Tactics does, and all these, everyone who are at the topper end doing this full time has the supplementary support income things. Because basically YouTube for me wouldn't even pay my mortgage. So I wouldn't be able to eat, I wouldn't be able to live. So YouTube, that's what YouTube is for people. So 40K, the 40K community online actually is quite large, but at the top end, the largest part of the 40K community are people who are just interested in 40K. So that's why the lore videos, people like Luton, most subscribed, most views, people who are just interested in 40K at the top end, video games, things like that. People who are actually interested in hobby, smaller section of the overall thing, and people who are interested in the hobby as well as 40K, those are your Squid Mars and your Midwinter Minis, and they get even more views, have even more subscribers than me, but not as many as Luton. The people who are interested in 40K is that big. People who are interested in 40K and the hobby, that big. And then people who are interested in 40K and the hobby and actually playing, then we get down to the Battle Report guys, with the exception of Mini Wargaming, who are huge, and because they've been around for 12 years and because they're awesome. But the Battle Report dudes are people within people within people. No human centipedes going on here. It's people within, you know what I mean? It's small. So yeah, so there are different ways that you can support your favorite content creator out there, because we can't just dump it all on YouTube. But it'd be lovely if we could. And maybe one day in a glorious future, as 40K, the Eisenhorn TV series comes out and 40K gets bigger and bigger, maybe one day there'll be a place where, I don't know. Anyway, for now, different ways you can support me. One, you can become a member, the day one member. I was there the day that Horus killed the SEO. You can become that now, and that's the way of chucking money at me. You don't have to do that. Become a deploymentzone.tv subscriber, because that way you get more content from me and also all the other people who are in the deployment zone. And it also unlocks all the general threads in the Discord. So you can chat in the Discord and also in the deployment zone. So we've got the YouTube community, the Winters SEO YouTube community, and there's some regulars of you out there that I see who pop comments all the time, and I see you. and you've been around forever. And then inside of that, there's the inner circle of the community, which is like the deployment zone members. And that's the best way really to get in contact with me and to see me, really, because so many deployment zone events. I've been to 2 already and met a chunk of people. There's another one in October. There's another one, another DZ day in October that I'm going to. There's the Fast Storm event in November. There's the narrative event, which I'm not supposed to announce yet, in December, which I'm going to. I know there's 2 in January. I know there's 1 in February. And there's 1 already lined up for summer next year, a bigger event, which I'm going to. And these are all deployment zone events that either I run or members in the community run. And because members of my community are running events, because you guys are running events, I'll come to them if I can. So the best way to support me is through the deployment zone, because then you can come to events and meet me. And also, it's also the best way to try and get a slot in playing against me now, because back in the day, it would be just my friends. Right at the very start, if you go back and watch the very first videos, it was me and the SEOs, the Swindon Elite Ops team, and that was it. And then I started meeting strangers off the internet and playing 40k with them. And we had some interesting experiences during those times, and some very good experiences during those times, meeting some legends who are still with us now. But we had some interesting experiences during those times. And now I've got to the point that I don't have to meet strangers off the internet anymore. Now we've got to the point that I nearly always play with regulars or people from the Discord, people from the deployment zone, because it turns into, because then I'm talking to them over time and I know them better. And then so it flattens out the people on the edges. It flattens out that curve. And I think off the top of that, what we're getting on YouTube and what we're getting in the battle reports on the deployment zone is we're getting a better mix of personalities and armies as well. So I think it's better for content as well. So yeah, you can support me through the deployment zone. There's loads of events going on. You get a lot more content that way, and help me grow, essentially, and help me put food on the table. So that's the best way to do it. I've mentioned it unlocks the general threads in the Discord. There's also a patron, a DZTV patron, which you can join, and that unlocks the full Discord. So what happens is there are some legends out there, a small but dedicated member of legends, probably listening to this video right now, who are subscribed to the Deployment Zone and to Patreon. And they unlock the full patron and they're but there's, so thank you if you're one of those awesome legends who's subscribed to both and supporting me. I see, that's the thing, it still surprises me that I'm doing this full time. I still have in the back of my mind, like, I'm going back to work tomorrow. Like, this is a holiday, I've got a couple more days left, then I'm back to work tomorrow. And most of you will know that I had a horrible time. I was in the factory for 20 years. I did my time. I served my time, damn it. I had a life sentence. It took me 20 years to break out of that place. And I had a horrible time last year. And it's still pretty rough, but but everyone, this is the thing, everyone had a horrible time last year. COVID was a thing. Do you remember? It's still a thing. Do you remember lockdown? Do you remember people lost their jobs? People's family got... Last year was... It was the eye of terror. And we're only just climbing back out of it now. So the fact that we're still here and the community is still going and that I can still get content out and you guys still like what I do is just awesome, and it blows me away, and I keep waiting to go back to work. It's going to take me years to break out of that 20-year cycle that I had, because I was working and doing my hobby, and now I'm doing my hobby and keep waiting to go back to work. So yeah, there's a patron as well. And the reason why we did that is because some people wanted to support more. And there's another reason why we did it, because there's about 10-15%, I forget what the numbers are, but there's 10 or 15% of people who are in the Discord who are not subscribed to deploymentzone.tv because they don't want any more content, because they're doctors and lawyers and astronauts and rogue traders, and they don't have time to watch any additional content, or they're in the segmentum pacificus and they can't get internet out there. So they just want to support through the patron system because they don't have the time, or they just want to be part of the community and interact with people on the Discord that we have and share pictures and things like that. So those are the different ways you can support me if you want to support me. That's the layers of the community going down from members if you just want to throw money at me now. Thank you very much. Deployment Zone if you want to get stuff back from me and join the community and come to events. And that's the thing. There's so many events now unlocking that we're doing. Like we're going to be doing a couple of narrative campaigns a year, every year, where you can play online with us, and a couple of narrative events away at places a year, every year. Then there's the miniature events like the 40-man events that we're doing pretty much every month or every other month. So there's so many events going on. I do get asked from YouTube people and other people, can you come to this event, or will we see you here? And the answer to those questions at the moment really is no. No, the reason why is because there's so many other events going on inside the inner circle, the Deployment Zone community, that I want to go to them, and I only have enough time to go to X number of events and film and edit and keep up with all the things I want to keep up with. Basically, I'm in a very, very lucky place. I'm in a place where I get to hobby all the time and go to the events that I want to go to because either I set them up or my community set them up, and they're not tournaments. I'm not a fan of tournaments. But one of the ideas I've got as well is a Winters 40K League, which will be launched on YouTube, not in the Deployment Zone. And the reason why in YouTube and not in the Deployment Zone is because the Deployment Zone is mainly a narrative group of people. There are a lot of competitive people in there, but it's mainly narrative wise. And there's events and communities and campaigns and things already sort of aimed at that. And the 40K League isn't that. The 40K League, the idea I've got in my head is there's loads of little leagues all around the country. Oh, this is why as well, I need to get in contact with the whole country, all the world. There's loads of little leagues that people run at their club here or their club there, or there's loads of little clubs all over the place. Also, there's groups of people, like groups of gamers out there. You're probably one of them right now. This is the more common thing, that there's a person watching this, painting up their army, and they play with 2 or 3 friends. There's those groups out there. They're the most common. Wouldn't it be great if you could go to a place and play a competitive match with people from other parts of the country or the world, and then rank yourself on a league to see how good you really are? Like, you might be member of the Hampshire Harriers Gaming Club, and you've got your league and you smash it out the park and your league are doing really well. Well, why not go to a central location where you can play with another club or another group of people, and then we could rank you. I could rank you, my league. I could rank you to see how good you are as an individual and how good your club is compared to other clubs. So it needs to be a YouTube thing, because it is a way that people can play competitively that isn't a tournament. Because the only way to play truly competitively right now is to practice in your local leagues and practice in your local metas, then go to a tournament. What you could use the league for is a way to, in the run up to a tournament, is you could go to it 2, 3, 4 times, practicing your list. And I'm thinking of a central location where you pay X amount of money because we need to hire the location. So normally these places are 10 or 15 pounds a day. So, but you'd pay to go to a place and you'd get 2 games, say 10 to 1, 2 to 5. You get 2 solid games of 2,000 points, at a competitive level, and then you get ranked individually in the league. We'd have to have different leagues, bronze, silver, gold. That's another thing I want to do and want to launch in 2021. Cut. Editing Winters here. I said 2021 there. I meant 2022 next year. And I think that could be big. What could happen? There's two ways that could go. There's three ways that could go. The first way it could go is we secure a hall with terrain, with people who would happy to run this for me, basically do all the legwork. And we shout about it on YouTube to you guys. Hey, here's this league idea. Do you guys want to go to this place? And say it's £15 for a day. I mean, how much is a football ticket? How much is a cinema ticket with a Coke? How much is, I think £15, because these places normally cost a tenner, and then like a fiver to me for all because there's going to be spreadsheets and work for videos. So we could go there. So this is a good point. You could feedback to this. This is an idea. I've got an idea. How's this for an idea? I'll launch a league. And the league is a place where you can go with your friends, with your club, or on your own. You book a ticket, you go, you play 2 competitive games. Boom. And then we keep that going. And we keep that going, and there's a place where you can go, book the ticket, boom. It's a good idea. And £50, 2 competitive games, 10 till 1, 2 till 5. That sounds awesome. And I will rank you. So you'll have your individual ranks. If you play once, you'd be like twice, because it'd be a one-day event. So if you play twice, you're in the bronze league, because it'd be easier to get 100 points and 100 points and be top. And then if you go to 2 events, 4 games, then you'll be in the silver league. And then 3 events, 6 or more games, you'll be in the gold league. And then then people go to that, and they get some competitive games in, and it's a good way to practice your meta versus someone else's meta. It's a good way for one club, when they get there, to talk to another club and say, hey, let's meet up again in 2 months' time. You bring 8 of your guys, I'll bring 8 of my guys. Let's go at it. We've got this tournament coming up in 3 months, and it'd be good tournament practice, 2 proper games in. And then we can rank individual people per league, and we can also rank the teams and the clubs per league. And we could also find out what's the most winning faction, what the most winning list is, what's riding high in the meta, what's not riding high in the meta. And I'll track all of that and do videos on it. It'd be like Winter's 40K League, monthly update. I could do podcasts with people. Say there's a guy who's winning all the time with a certain list or versions of the list. I could do a podcast or a talking heads video where I sit down with them and talk through their strategy stuff that could come out of this. So it could turn into something really big. But the idea is to pin down a location where anyone from the world, or mainly the UK, let's face it, but anyone from anywhere could come over, buy some tickets and play 2 games in a day for only 15 quid. Something like that. That's an idea that I have. And that's a way for me to help the community to get together to play match play competitive games, and to rank whether your little team, your little group of people, whether your list idea, say you've come up with a list idea and you're thinking about going to a tournament, or you're thinking about going to your local club with it, or you're thinking about is this list any good, and you're smashing your friends a couple of times. Is it really good? Where you could book a ticket for the league, go there, and really test it against someone from Scotland, or someone from Cornwall, or someone from London, or and test your list. And then you'll find out whether your list and whether your play style is any good. So that's a good thing that we can do. And then the other thing I need to do with that as well is, if it is successful, I need to book a place where that they can unlock more slots. Because if we did it monthly, then if it turns out to be really successful, then we need to perhaps unlock 2 or 4 slots a month, every month, to make sure that there's enough slots for people to play in the league. And then if it gets really successful that we're unlocking 2 or 4 slots, then I'll probably have to widen the leagues out from bronze, silver, gold. It might be like 4 fights, 8 fights, 12. I don't know. We'll see. It's an idea. It's a work in process. Nothing. It's just an idea. It's something I want to do. So, and then I want to go to the league as well. I was thinking to myself, I could actually go to my own league, because it isn't a tournament. There's nothing to win. You don't get a massive prize. It's about testing lists. Whoever is at the event, wherever we run it, will have to have a judge to adjudicate any rules disputes or points disparities or things like that, in case we need that sort of thing. But you're not winning anything. It's not like first place gets you £500 worth of prize support. It is, you get your win-loss draw ratio and you get your points scored on a league table, and that's it. But it's for you to test your stuff. And then if we actually will have to have some code of conduct in there as well, because there'll be one fella who does something at some point and his list is found to be invalid or causes a ruckus or table flips or something like that. So we'll have to have a code of conduct in the pack. So when any unsportsmanlike behavior occurs, we can strike their scores from the league. And then we'll have to have an adjudicator at the event. Well, there will be an adjudicator at the event that, you know, their decision is final. So yeah, that'll be baked in. I'm thinking this out loud now. It'll be baked in. It'll be fine. Yeah. And if it becomes wildly successful as well, what I found is you'll get people in the community. There'll be someone out there thinking, that's a great idea. What if I helped? And you'll get people who want to help, who want to turn up, who want to get involved and want to launch a podcast off the back of it, talking to people and want to track. So yeah, these things I found that when you do creative stuff in the realm of whatever realm, in my case, it's 40K. When you do creative stuff in the realm of 40K, you start planting seeds and these things either grow, and when they grow, other people help water them, or they don't grow, and then your bush dies. So it'll be one or the other. So that's another idea. Where was I? Yeah, so I need to make videos. I will commit to at least one video a month, every month, talking to you guys out there. I got these ideas, and that was one of the ideas that I want to share with you. So sometimes it's going to be ideas like that. Sometimes it's going to be ideas like, I don't know. Do we want to do a stream? That means instead of pre-recording this, I'm going to have to find out a way to hook up the PC, and is the sound in the other, I don't know. Do we want to do a stream? We'll see. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support. It's just, and helping a person like me, just 40K for a living. That's amazing. Still blows my mind. Still waiting to go back to work. Right, so I had some ideas. Yes, let's show you my hobby progress. That's what this is about. It's about the hobby. I've painted some things. Let's have a look. First up, I painted a Malanthrope. Tom sent it through to me. Thank you, Tom. Love you. Always wanted one of these models. Wanted it for a long time, and it's not finished because I haven't finished the base because I haven't got any of these. These have been out of supply forever. Cut, editing winters again. You could potentially get a lot of these, by the way, if we're doing this just without my normal cuts all the way through. If I'm just talking, you're going to get a lot of mistakes. But I noticed on the video that I showed you this, and I said I'd run out of them. And you could potentially see some inside. Well, these aren't middling tufts. These are from Army Painter. I need the Middenland tufts for the Tyranid army. These are the darker green ones that are in here. They're not the ones I need. And I need to put a few tufts on the base. But the idea behind a Malanthrope is this is a 150 point character that can't be targeted. 150 points. But it's Synapse, and it's got a 6-inch bubble, and any Tyranid creature within 6 inches, it's -1 to hit them. So you're paying 150 points for it to move up the board and help keep some of your armies alive. But yeah, the plus side is it can't be targeted. I think Custodes have a similar thing like this with the Vexor Aquilus, and yeah. So that's the plan with this one. Love this model. Thank you, Tom. It's painted. The thing about filming it as well, by the way, is look at these lovely statues from March of War. This is on marchofwar.com, by the way. March of War, awesome guy, makes resin scenery. Check it out. The reason why there hasn't been many Tyranids on the channel recently is because they're not good. The 9th edition codexes are improving and improving and improving. And at the start of 9th edition, when you had the crossover period where you could do some 9th with 8th edition, you could balance it a bit better. But now there's so much 9th out there. The codexes that haven't got the 9th edition treatment yet, they're so far behind the curve. So Tyranids are so far behind the curve right now. It's quite frightening. And the only way I'll field them at the moment is in those narrative open play games, because I don't have a collection that can cheese it up to the max. And it's just, it feels like they're always struggling up. I did a game the other day where a big beastie charged a vehicle, massive beastie, but charged a vehicle, and it didn't rip it open. There was one on YouTube. I think the most recent one I did on YouTube was Tyranids versus Adeptus Mechanicus. And my flying hive tyrant flew in and charged one of the Adeptus Mechanicus styrofoam flyers, one of those things, and couldn't even rip it out in the sky. I'm sorry, but flying hive tyrants, they're flying battle tanks. They should go through those things. And that's what I mean about the 9th edition treatment. Tyranids need to get up there, I feel. So I will play with them, but it's tough making that decision right now, particularly when there's so much other 9th edition goodness, and the game feels more balanced when you play with other codexes. But I love this one. Thank you, Tom. Next up, Grey Knights. This isn't all of them. This is some of them. By some, I mean I did 10 of the little guys, 5 of the big guys. I bought a box of these and a box of them. A box of these, it's really expensive, nearly 50 quid, but you do get 10 of them. So it's £5 a model, which is, I dare to say it, really, really reasonable for Games Workshop. So, yeah, here's 3 of these and 3 of these. I have got 10 and 15. Turned out that my Grey Knight force before the new codex dropped, I could muster about 2,300 points. That was it. That was my top, maybe 2,400 if I loaded them out with all the scary stuff and made the Terminators paladins. And basically I only had just over 2,000 points worth of Grey Knights. So I need to add to my Grey Knights. So I've added some Terminators, added some Strike Squad. It allows me to show different visions and different ideas on the channel. By the way, absolutely loving playing with the Grey Knights right now. They're active in all 4 phases of the game: the movement phase, psychic phase, assault phase, and the shooty phase. They're active in all the phases of the game. So it's a really, really rewarding play, but not in the sense that you have to memorize 15,000 things to play them, aka Adeptus Mechanicus. Because I painted these 2 for my Adeptus Mechanicus, and I've only played 2 games of Adeptus Mechanicus since the new codex dropped, because you need a PhD to wrap your head around it, or at least I do. I'd love to play more AdMech, and now I've finally got these done, and let's face it, they've been on the shelf for about 6 months now. Now I've finally got them done. That's motivation enough to crack out a new list and do a couple of games with them, because I want to show these off and I want to play with them, and I don't play with unpainted toys. So I've got painted toys, which means I can play with the new tanks. I like these tanks, not the transport version of the tanks, because this gun is the only indirect fire weapon in the whole of the AdMech Codex. It's basically like a whirlwind. It's a strength 5 minus 2/2 damage, I believe. That's what it is. It could be. It's around there. It's an anti-troop killer, and it can fire indirectly. And as it is the only indirect fire thing in the Codex, then I thought, well, I want 2 of them, because it's really handy sometimes. If you've got an injured tank, or it's really handy sometimes if you can't draw a line of sight on the thing that you want to kill, to lob shells up and over. And these aren't too expensive either. They're basically like floaty dreadnoughts. They've got the same toughness, same armor save. They're like floaty dreadnoughts that degrade, but they're dreadnought sort of prices for the guns, because you've got the indirect fire gun. You've got 12 shots with the stubbers. 12 shots, so that's good anti-horde material. D6 shot missile launcher on the front. D6 is really swingy. So sometimes you're going to roll the 6s, sometimes you're going to roll the 1s, but it's a nice touch. So you're looking at about a dreadnought level of firepower, but more resilience for the same cost as a dreadnought. And I say more resilience, that's because it's got more wounds. But then dreadnoughts are -1 damage coming in and don't degrade. So I think they're about costed about right. And they're quite nippy as well. I think they move 10 or 9. They're quite nippy. And they'd be good for move blocking as well, like that. You know what I mean? So I like them. So that's why I got them. And they'll be joining my AdMech list. And they'll be joining my AdMech list. And that means I'll play AdMech a bit more. Which means I really need to go away and study the codex and study the codex and study the codex and study the code, because you've got your cult mech stuff, then you've got your Scutari stuff. So you've got to figure out which is cult mech and which is Scutari, and then you've got to figure out below that what your individual Forge worlds do. Then below that you've got to find out what's core. And then below that, you've got to find out what's got a data tether and is cored, and what hasn't got a data tether, what's infantry, what's not infantry. There's layers of operations. The AdMech of the command phase army, you've got to work out everything that you want to do with the AdMech in the command phase and filter down the chain of command to the bottom, and then enact that in a turn, and then do the same in the next turn and the next turn. And if you go in second, this is where it gets really confusing. Your opponent goes first, then you enact your command phase army things in your first turn, but you know they've got another second turn against you before you can switch that protocol round or some of the commands around. So if you go in second, it's even harder because you're trying to think ahead about what your opponent's doing. If you go in first, it's easier just to go, right, this command, I'm going to do this. And this command, it's easier, but it's still a lot of actions and a lot of things that you need to think through before you actually play it. So I think 1,000-point AdMech games might be a thing. So I painted these. I painted my Grey Knights. I've shared some ideas with you. These videos will come up at least a month every month. If they're more popular, then I'll do them more regularly. Or if I've got more stuff to talk about, then I'll do them with more regularly. I'm looking forward to some feedback from you guys. Do you like the idea of the league? I like the idea of the league. I think that's a good idea, and I think I'm going to try and move ahead with it and start talking to people anywhere. Do you like the idea of a streaming thing? If so, how the hell do I set that up? Do you know a guy? OBS is a thing. Cameras, I don't know. Something is a some. I don't. And then me talking to you. Yes, we can do that. I don't know. These are ideas. We'll start off with this. Thank you for being a member of my community. Thank you for supporting me for all the years. And if you're new to this and wondering what the hell is going on here, then thanks for joining us. Thanks. Love you. Happy wargaming.